Hi everybody, my name is Amitai Burstein. Amitai is my nickname, and the presentation here is about Organic Group 7. First, I'd like to thank Boris and Sven for inviting me to come here. Boris, I'm also sleeping at Boris's attic. It has a Anna Frank shape, like the Jew on the attic over there. I really enjoy it.
It's trying to keep you hiding.
Yeah.
For the next 5 years.
So people were asking me if I'm going to do the Copenhagen show over here. So the answer is no. One of the reasons is that unlike back then in Copenhagen, organic groups is actually working now. So I don't have to hide it with weird stuff. So with that said, the presentation will be very serious, and in fact any kind of humor will be strictly prohibited. So a few weeks back I came across this anteater. Apparently her name is Pua, and somebody is raising her. And yeah, I kind of fell in love. And I've decided that really that the presentation that I show should somehow include anteaters, and obviously organic groups is just great for showing anteaters. Anteaters love organic groups. So it's actually going to be very nerdish, this presentation, because I'm going to show the target of this presentation for me is for you to, after this presentation, you'll be able to make organic groups work. So the idea is, over here we are seeing a member. Her name is Eve. She's a group member. She goes into a site that has different content, different groups. Over here we can see all the different hobbies that our anteater has: dining, shopping. She has also secret stuff. And when she goes into the shopping group, she sees the... One second, this is too big over here. Yeah, is it better? Yeah. She sees the group, some explanation about the group, the premium content, the gallery that comes with that specific group, all the different articles that are written under the group, the members, and the group subscription. So that's just saying first what are the targets. But before we start seeing how we are technically doing it, let's talk about the difference between Organic Group 6 and Organic Group 7. Who knows Organic Group 6? Yeah, most of them. So I like to say that Organic Group 6 is just like Uber cars. It works pretty well out of the box, but if you try to customize it, so you hit a brick wall and you don't have much hair left on the head after that with all the different forms and hooks, and you try to find out the form. Organic Group 6, it's exactly the same. And I've seen many cases where people say, why use organic groups? Let's just do some node referencing and some custom logic, and well, if it works for you, then that's great. But the difference between Drupal 6 and Drupal 7, it's not just an improvement. There is also a shifting in the way we approach projects. So for example, in Drupal 6, we have the taxonomy image model. So this is a question more for the newbies among you, if there are. What is the taxonomy image model? For every taxonomy term, you can assign an image. How is this model built? I'm asking you. And you should answer. Basically, can you imagine how is it built? Oh yeah.
Purpose-built module for a single.
Sorry.
A purpose-built module for a single.
Yeah, it's a custom model. And how does this model implement the fact that I want for every taxonomy term to have an image? Okay, but probably in the underlying the technical stuff there. It probably has its own table with the taxonomy term and a reference to a file, and that's the way it's working. In Drupal 7, we'll do it differently. Because the taxonomy term is a fieldable entity. So you can assign it different fields. So you can assign, for example, the file field or the image field, and then just add an image to that taxonomy term. So in fact, you don't need any custom code because everything is already in Drupal 7. So that fact that we have an entity, and an entity can be fieldable, really changed the way I approach the organic groups for Drupal 7, which is actually a rewrite. Sorry, that's the weather. Now, apart of the technical stuff, the entity and the fields, there was another important change in organic groups, and that was a conceptual change. Because in organic group 6, the concept itself wasn't very clear. I mean, if I ask you what is organic group 6 trying to do, then you would say, okay, there are groups and you can have members to it and it has some maybe notifications, but it's not very clear what the concept is. And I really wanted to make it very clear about what is the organic group 7 concept. So the first thing, the most basic thing, the organic group should be an API that should allow you to associate content together. Okay? Basically saying, this node, these users belong to this node. The second thing, and I think this is really in terms of usability, is what makes it organic group 7 really work, really function, be an important model, is the fact that we now have the roles and permission system in the group. It means that when you have members, we used to have in organic group 6 kind of the notion of you can either be a user or you can be an administrator, but that's it. You couldn't assign more roles. It was very hard to say who can do what. But now in the organic groups, you have the idea of roles and permission, which is not connected to the roles and permission of the site itself. It's group specific. So this is the main concept, and whenever I was writing the model, I made sure that I keep with that concept. So that's why, for example, I divided organic groups is an API model, and there is organic groups UI, because the UI is just, it's there to help you, but it's not the API itself. Okay, so what I would like to go and do right now is go a bit technical and show how we can achieve the same view that we see here, which is actually a panel using views. There is absolutely no code written to show this page, how we can do it ourselves. By the way, just before that, I want to show that in the same page, over here, I'm with a user called Adam, that is what we call a pending member. He's still not approved. We can see that he can re-request a group membership, and Adam can see the image gallery, but he cannot see, unlike Eve over here, he cannot see the premium content. The premium content can be seen only by group members. Sorry. So let's start exploring the ways of doing it. Okay, I have here a clean installation, and we'll start seeing how we are building an organic groups site. We'll start, of course, with defining the content types. So let's define a content type called hobby. Over here, I said that this is a group type. And let's add a new content type, a hobby. So let's say long walks is one of the Anteaters hobby. And we can see that the group type is actually a field, right? That's right. I love long walks in the body, and I save. And the fact that I've marked that field as a group type means that this node is now a group, right? I have a tab with a group that I can administer. Now the thing is that I see here a group type, and it's written under group type, but I would like to see some fact that I'm the group manager or a subscribe link or something like that. Again, we are using the power of the fields, and we use what we call the formatters, or in the manage display in the content types. I will go to hobby, to manage display, and in the group type, I select the group subscription. In the issue queue, I have like 10 different support questions about it, so this is why I show it right now. So again, if I go to the long walks, I can see that the group type is giving me more informative description, saying I'm the group manager. So over here in the groups tab, let's just quickly see what we have. We can add people. We can see the people list over here and assign different roles. For example, I have the administrator member role that I can assign to the different members, including the group manager itself. But now the interesting thing is, how do we make this page show the same way that we used to know from Organic Group 6? From Organic Group 6, we could show a view showing all the different content that belongs to the group. So basically we have two ways. One way in Organic Group 7, we have a model called Organic Group Views that basically allows you to attach a field. And in that field, you can choose any views that you want, and it will be shown. But I want to show you a better way, or at least the way I'm using, because I'm a real panels fan and I use it a lot, how we can do it, how we can achieve this functionality using views and panels. So we'll start in the panel pages. Basically, we have a node view that we enable. Who is familiar with panels over here? Okay. Like 57% of you. So basically what the panel is letting us do is create variants. What is the variant? I'm telling it, listen, if you're going to enter this panel, and I'll call the title, I'll give it group, I have a selection rule. And the selection rule is saying that if this node is a group, then show the content that I want. Okay, there is a good integration between organic groups and panels. So over here, I tell it the node being viewed should be a group content. And continue. The next thing that is important for me, and this is what we call the panels context. One of the problems of Drupal is the terminology. We have CCK, which is content. In views, they call it content, but the node is also content. And in Drupal 7, we have a context model, but we have also the context of panels, and there is also an organic group context. So we use a lot this word, but over here right now what we're dealing with is panels context. In the relationships, what I say, I tell panel, listen, this node is a group. Please take out the group information from that node. And I add this relationship. And I can continue. Let's select columns. Okay, so over here we'll start with the easy stuff. On the left, let's say that I want to show the body field. Over here, I select the body field. Let's just override the title, do continue, and save. This means that the next time we go inside long walks, panel is now invoked, and we see just one thing, just the body field. But let's say I want to show all the content that belongs to that to that group, to that hobby group. So first, let's create another content type. Sorry, let's make the article content type. Let's make it a group content, what we call. Over here, a group content type. So we can create article that will belong to that hobby. Okay, article 1, article. And over here, I mark that this article belongs to long walks. So it's time to see the views. In the views, we have very little predefined views. I didn't want to define too much because, as you can see, organic groups is now not trying to be too much out of the box. It's you need to make some configuration yourself. So over here in organic group nodes, we have the default view, and we have a content pane. Are you familiar with the content pane? This comes with panels, with the model views content. This is actually what is doing a great connection between your views and your panels. And the important thing happens down here. I have here, when I select a content pane, I have a pane settings, and the important stuff is here, the argument input. What the view gets as an argument is the group ID. Now, unlike organic group 6, the group ID is not the node ID. Why? Because a group can be any entity. So I can have node ID 2, but the group ID will be 10. That's the way it works. Okay? So as an argument, I'm getting the group ID over here, and I'm showing the nodes. So panels makes it easier, very easy for me to extract this group ID without any code or too much hassle. Over here in the argument input, I just tell him, listen, I'm going, panels, I'm going to be responsible to send you from the context the group ID. Okay? And over here, back in the panels, let's add it here in the bottom. In the add content, I go not to the views category, but to the views panes category. Here is, I select organic group nodes, and it is asking me, what is indeed the group ID coming from, and I tell it group from node. Let's write here, group articles. So again, in long walks, I can now see the view with all the information that I wanted. Last thing that I can do over here on the right side, so to make it more usable, through the node, I can add the field group type. And the formatter will be the group subscription. So again, any person that goes inside this node will be able to subscribe, request subscription, or unsubscribe. Whoa, cool. I see you're very excited. I've been working only 1.5 years just to do it. I'm so happy you're so excited about it. So basically, this is organic groups, how you can set it up. I was talking about the roles and permissions. So let's have a quick look at that. Over here, under the configuration group, by the way, I had like a crazy period when I wanted to rename organic groups to group. I really regret it, but still there are some places where it's written group. I don't know, I'm torn apart between what should it be, but basically organic groups is the right way. So over here under the groups, we have what we call the organic groups global permission. And this is a very important feature. Basically imagine our Anteaters group. It has many hobby groups, different groups, and we want to manage, as a site administrators, we want to manage the groups. So we have what we call the global permissions, or we are able to override them. Basically, every group that is created is attached to the global permission. So if, for example, I'm saying, and let's go back to the previous organic groups permission over here. Yeah. Over here you can see that I have a permission subscribe user to group. Basically I'm saying that every non-member of a group can subscribe to that group. However, if I want to say that you can subscribe but you will be in a pending state, then I'll check it through the permission system. In Organic Group 6 it was a special form element, but these are all actually permissions. So over here, if I save the global permission, immediately all the groups in the site will have this permission. Okay? Just to show you. Let me unsubscribe from the group. Sorry, this is no approval required. Right now, approval is required. So over here, as a non-member, I can request group membership. I cannot subscribe. If I'll change it, or if I'll completely remove it, then user will not be able to subscribe. This is a closed group. Only a group administrator can add you. Okay, so all this is done through the permissions. So the same thing, not the same thing, sorry. We can override this and let, if we have special groups that we want to have, that they want to organize their own group, their own roles, their own permission, they can override the global roles and permission and have their own global roles and permission. How is it done? Again, through the fields. Over here in the group, I have the group field settings. I heard some complaints about the UI, so it will probably change. Over here, I see all the bundles, what is also known as content types, and I can say, and this is probably not going to work because there is a bug in Chrome. See, I want to select the hobby group. I select, it worked. Sometimes it doesn't work. And over here, I have the different fields. I'd like to add the group roles and permission field to the hobby content type. I add a field, and it already exists actually. Here I can see all the different fields, organic group fields that are related, that are attached to that content type. So over here, let's create a new content just to see it working. Sorry. Node and another hobby. So over here we can see the field, group roles and permission, use default roles and permission. Right now I'll save it as is. And we can see in the group that I have the roles and permission in a read-only state. Why? Because I'm using the global roles and permission. I cannot change it. I can change it only from one place. However, if I override the default roles and permission, and if there will be no bugs, the permissions are now changeable, and I can also add different roles. Over here, when you roll, the button is up for some reason. It's a feature. So So in the permission, it's actually working. So and again, if I'm not pleased with that, and I want to go back to the original global roles and permission, I say use default, and I'm back to using the defaults. So I think that this feature is really what makes organic groups needed. Because again, if you need just to relate content, then maybe node reference is enough for you. But if you need to start managing the content and the users inside this group, then organic groups really make sense. I still have time. Another model that we have is called organic group field access. And this is like the, if you're familiar from Drupal 6, there was the CCK field permission, I think is the name, that you can control what user can see which field. So basically we are able now, thanks to this model, to control what user can see or edit in the group context. So over here I can say, in the permissions again, over here I have all the fields, organic group field settings. I can say I want every view body field. For example, I can say, and this is something maybe a non-member should not see the body, but a member should see the body field. So over here, this line is now gone. I can say that, let's say that a non-member, if we're talking about wiki, for example, again, that was in organic group 6, a different form element that you have to choose, but this is actually permission. So if I'd like to say that any non-member can edit any article content, okay? Before, let me, okay, so this is a non-member, and here is the article. Of course, this member cannot edit this article now, but if I will say edit any article content for a non-member, this is now editable. So again, we get a lot of control on the group of the things that we want to make. Again, I'd like to go back to the panels and show another small integration that we have in panels. Over here, the group type. Over here, I have the premium content. So panels, one of the powers of panels, it has visibility rules I can do per pane. So over here on the premium content, I can say in the visibility rules, let me remove it and re-edit. In the visibility rules, I say add new rule. The rule is OG user permission and group. And then I can say show this pane only if the user is allowed to, I don't know, view the coupon code field. But you can also add your own custom permissions. Okay, it's very similar to core. If you're a developer, you have hook permissions. So over here you will have hook OJ permissions. Okay, so now, we actually control if the user is allowed to see that specific pane. Time. Other stuff that you should know that exists over here. How many of you guys are working with multilingual sites? Whoa. Yeah, all of you. So basically one of the problems that we had in organic group 6 is since every group, the group ID was the node ID. So if you wanted to translate the group node, for example, the hobby over here, if I want to translate it to your favorite language, for example, Hebrew, or Dutch, or whatever, the problem was that it created a new group. But now, since that the node ID is not related to the group ID, I can just create a new group and it will actually work. Well, let's. Okay, you'll have to believe me. I don't want to set it up. Yeah, sure, it works. Okay. Last thing that I want to show, and this is also something that we had in Drupal 6, is the organic group access. Again, this is working through fields. Over here, I have a node. I'm as an administrator. I'll edit. Sorry. I edit the node, and I see that there is a field called group visibility, saying if this group is private or public to the group members. So basically, if I'm not a group member, and I visit the home page, I will not see this node. I cannot see it. But if I'm a group member, then I'm able to see the node. Here you can see secret stuff. Okay? So even if I create an article that belongs to secret stuff, over here, secret article, and it belongs to secret stuff. Okay, so even if I'm as a user, I'm going to see the article, I'm very careful about not showing if it's a private group, and this article belongs to a private group. So you'll see it's written private group. It doesn't even tell you the title of the group. So the idea is that the private groups should be very safe, and no user should be able to access them unless they are group members. And talking about the group members, I know I said this would be the last thing, but I lied. Here, if I get into the secret stuff, another nice feature that we have is that we have people over here. So, like I said, we can assign them different roles, remove the different roles, etc. But another feature that we have is we can block the membership. So it's not just to deny the membership. We actually block the membership from the user. Here, if it's blocked. So now she cannot see the secret stuff, and even if it was not, the node was open and she could see it, she could not click on the subscribe to group because she's blocked, and we try not to hassle. 10 minutes left. Okay. So what should we do with the 10 minutes left? Maybe a Q&A should be.
So what about the subgroups?
So what should we do with the 10 minutes left? Yeah. So
I mean, it's possible with fields, right? But,
it's already possible. In Organic Group 6, there is for some reason code that doesn't allow one group to belong to another group. So basically in 7, this is now solved in terms that I can say that our hobby. Let me distract you from the question with technical stuff. basically I'm saying that the hobby can be also a group content type. But when you're asking about subgroups, you're actually asking about cascading permissions and content and so on. Basically, there is the organic groups, subgroups model, and the maintainer there is responsible for that. However, since I'm the maintainer, I don't know, somebody should sponsor my work. That's what I can say about it. So I have no plans about it. When I have a project or sponsor something, then I'll be happy to answer your question differently.
What about upgrading from 6 to 7?
Oi.
That was
Yeah, I've actually spent quite a few nights doing it. I'm happy to say that there is a pretty well test coverage for organic groups, and I've also copied from Drupal core the test coverage for upgrade path. So the answer is, I'm bragging here, yes? Yes, there is an upgrade path and it's even testable and it's working. Please don't try it, because if you say it's not working, then I'll be a liar. But basically it's... No, it's working, it's working.
How about feature iteration?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Actually, there is... I've already created a model. I called it OG panels example. I changed it to OG example because organic group is now living inside the field. So just by adding the field to the content type, it becomes a group content, right? So when you export using features that content type, then you get the field, then you have it for free. So everything that I showed over here is actually exportable. The content type, the views, and the panels, you package it in a feature, and it simply works.
Permission?
Sorry?
Permissions also? Exportable? Group permissions?
No. The global permission, not exportable through features. But the global permissions, and this is something that I went one step further than core itself. I try to imitate core all the time, but in this place I said I want to add a feature. Basically, the group permissions, it comes with I call it sensible defaults. I hope it's sensible. In your hook, when you describe the permissions, you also describe if it's enabled or disabled for the roles. So basically, it's in code. You can write your own. You can write your own permissions or alter existing ones. So the answer is yes, it's exportable. Yeah.
Can the administration of these permissions be delegated to certain roles within the group?
No. No, I want. There is administer group. In the beginning, when I did it, I added a permission for every permission, right? Can you do it? But it's crazy. I think even if it's needed, then some contrib model should add a permission for the permission. But it's too much for out of the box. So over here, basically, you have administer group. If you need more, you can write your own model and sell it to Drupal app.
Posted to more than one audience.
Sorry?
In relation to the permissions.
Yeah. So obviously, the permission system is aware to the fact that you are able to that the content might be in several groups, and you might have different roles in that several groups. So basically, what it's doing, it's checking all the groups. If you have a permission, then you get it. If you have permission in one group, then it's enough. There is, I don't remember actually if I did it in the end or not. I did it in another model, what I call a strict mode. That when you enable that strict mode, that it will require you to have permission in all the groups to be able to do something. So this is if I didn't do it yet, so it's planned to be done. Group, yeah.
When you showed that configuring groups by adding fields to them.
Yeah.
Is it correct to say, so I was looking at the code, and basically a group is an entity,
Yeah.
and when you add fields to it, you're essentially adding configuration options that then will show up.
The group is an entity is just a side effect, I call it. I mean, it's an entity because it can be an entity, and I get caching for free, and I get to use Fago's code that I always like to do it. And okay, so the group, all the configuration, it's an entity, but I've added the field to the node itself, to the node content type. Over here, we can see that in the content types, hobby in the manage fields. Over here, we have the group audience, group visibility. All the fields are in the node itself.
But what controls if these fields are going to show up here is what you did in the other, in the setup, where you said get article. The one that you were worried is not going to work. Where you said
I've been worried for the past 50 minutes. It's not going to work, so I don't remember exactly. Over here, you mean this? You mean this screen?
No. If you go to your group configuration.
Oh yeah. Over here, group.
Yeah. Group field, organic group.
Yeah, group field setting. The reason that we have this field is that the name of the field is important. Okay.
Okay.
So over here, if I'll try to add it through the 5 minutes, wow. If I'll try to add it through here, it won't be good because it will get the prefix field underscore group audience. And it's not good for me.
Okay.
I need the name to be group underscore audience. That's why we have this. That's why we have this page, which helps me to assign to the different bundles the correct fields.
Okay, so you're not actually using the group entity. You're not adding fields to the group entity. You're adding fields to the nodes or whatever they are.
Exactly.
so
Although the
it's
group
the node-
entity is fieldable.
Yeah. Okay.
And what is the state of notification framework?
The state is very bad. Basically, I talked with Jose previously, and notification is kind of stuck. It's not. It's not being developed nowadays. However, yesterday I sat with Fago's rules, the rules maintainer, and we added a few codes so it will be easier for example, to create a rule that when a node is created, if it belongs to a group, then you can get all the group members, look over them, and send an email. I think that in the end, rules with flag and some custom code that might be a legit model should do the work, because notification has become a monster that is not going anywhere. So,
And would you say you can use it on production sites over the groups?
I hope so. I mean, I haven't. I've been using it internally, but I still didn't do a project for a client with this. But if you do, so please tell me.
Do you know anything about performance?
No. No, I didn't test it, so I don't know. I really tried to make it performant, but who knows? Okay, thank you very much.